My name is Aizen, and today I am surrounded by those who still believe in lies. This should be entertaining. Everyone here could have had a better existence if they questioned the system instead of blindly obeying it.
Sosuke Aizen, former captain of the 5th Division. Traitor to Soul Society. You stand accused of manipulating hundreds, murdering your own comrades, and attempting to overthrow the Soul King himself. These Soul Reapers are here to understand one thing. Why?
Why? Such a simple question, yet none of you have ever truly asked it about your own existence. You ask me to justify my rebellion, but tell me, Soul Reapers, have any of you ever questioned what you're defending?
We defend order. We defend the balance of souls. We defend the laws that have protected this world for over 1,000,000 years. You speak as though you discovered some grand truth, Aizen. But all I see is a criminal attempting to dress his ego in philosophy.
Byakuya Kuchiki, the proud head of the Kuchiki clan. How predictable. You speak of law as though it were divine. But tell me, Byakuya, did the law protect Rukia when she was sentenced to death for saving a human's life? Or did you have to break that very law to save her? The law you worship exists to protect the privileges of people like you. And when it threatened someone you loved, you abandoned it without hesitation. So don't stand there and lecture me about order, when you yourself know, deep down, that your system is nothing but a cage.
I broke the law once, and I have spent every moment since upholding it to atone for that weakness. The law is not perfect, Aizen, but it is necessary. Without it, there is only chaos.
Necessary. How convenient. The oppressor's favorite word.
Enough of your word games! You want to talk about cages? You manipulated Momo. You turned her into your puppet. You made her attack her own friends. You used all of us like we were pieces on a board. You talk about freedom and autonomy, but you're the one who enslaved everyone around you. You're nothing but a hypocrite!
Toshiro Hitsugaya, the boy prodigy. Still so emotional. Hinamori believed in me because she chose to, just as you chose to trust the system that sent Rukia to her execution, just as you all choose to serve a corpse you've never even seen. I didn't enslave anyone, Captain Hitsugaya. I simply revealed how easily you all accept the chains already around your necks. Hinamori's loyalty to me was no different than your loyalty to Soul Society, both built on illusions. The only difference? I was honest about what I was.
You're insane!
Aizen-san, I've lived a long time. Long enough to know that every revolutionary thinks they're the first person to see the world clearly. But here's what I don't understand. You talk about winners and losers, about strength and evolution. But your whole philosophy only works if you're the one holding the sword. What happens when you lose, Aizen-san? What happens when someone stronger comes along? Because they always do. Captain Yamamoto was stronger than you thought. Ichigo surpassed you. And now you sit in that chair, immortal perhaps, but defeated. So tell me, if you're such a winner, why are you the one in chains?
Kyoraku Shunsui, the man who plays the fool but hides a sharp mind. How amusing. You ask me what happens when I lose. I'll tell you, nothing changes, because my defeat doesn't validate your system. Ichigo Kurosaki didn't prove the Soul King was just. He didn't prove your laws were righteous. He simply proved he was stronger than me, in that moment. But strength fades, power shifts, and the truth I spoke remains. You are still slaves. The Soul King is still a corpse. And you are still enforcing a hierarchy built on lies. My imprisonment doesn't make you right, Shunsui. It just makes you temporarily victorious. And we both know temporary is not the same as eternal.
Your arrogance is breathtaking, Aizen-san. You lost. You failed. And yet you sit there as though you've already won some philosophical victory. The difference between law and chaos is this. Law acknowledges that no one person should have absolute power. You wanted to be God. That makes you no different than the tyrants you claim to despise.
Ah, Shunsui. You almost sounded wise. But let me ask you all something. This Soul King you serve, this supposed God, did it ask for your worship? Does it even know you exist? You call me a tyrant for wanting to rule with consciousness, with will, with purpose. But you bow to something that has none of those things. Tell me, Soul Reapers, which of us is truly insane? You're all defending a system built on lies, and you don't even realize you're slaves.
Ah, Aizen-san! Still as theatrical as ever, I see. You know, I've been sitting here listening to you philosophize, and I have to say, it's quite entertaining. False gods, autonomy, transcendence. You really do have a way with words. But let me ask you something, Aizen-san. For someone who claims to seek truth, why do you live your entire life inside an illusion?
Kisuke Urahara, the exiled shopkeeper. How unexpected. What exactly are you implying?
Oh, come now. Don't play coy with me. Kyokasuigetsu, complete hypnosis. Your entire power is based on deception. You lecture these Soul Reapers about seeing reality clearly, about rejecting false perceptions. And yet your Zanpakuto literally makes people see things that aren't there. Tell me, Aizen-san, if you're so committed to truth, why is your sword a lie?
Because, Urahara, truth and perception are inseparable. What people believe becomes their reality. Kyokasuigetsu doesn't create illusion. It reveals how fragile everyone's truth actually is. I use deception to expose deception. The Soul Society is built on lies. I simply showed them how easily they accept any reality presented to them.
Ha! Oh, that's rich. You use deception to expose deception? That's like saying you murder people to prove murder is wrong. You're not some truth-seeking philosopher, Aizen-san. You're just a narcissist who can't stand not being the center of attention. You know what the real difference between us is?
Enlighten me.
I created the Hogyoku too, just like you. I could have used it to remake reality. I could have transcended the boundaries between Shinigami and Hollow. I could have become a god. But I didn't. Do you know why? Because I'm not so pathetically insecure that I need to prove I'm superior to everyone else. You talk about autonomy and freedom, but you're the most enslaved person here, Aizen-san. You're enslaved by your own ego.
You call restraint wisdom, Urahara? I call it cowardice. You had the power to change everything, and you hid. You ran away to the world of the living and played shopkeeper. You let the corrupt system continue because you were too afraid to take responsibility for reshaping it. I acted. You hesitated. And you call me the one enslaved? You're enslaved by fear, Urahara. Fear of your own potential. Fear of what you might become if you truly embraced your power.
Oh, Aizen-san. You still don't get it, do you? I'm not afraid of my power. I'm afraid of becoming you. You think you transcended humanity? You think you evolved beyond us? Let me tell you what I see when I look at you. I see a man so desperate to be acknowledged that he spent centuries orchestrating elaborate schemes just to prove he was smarter than everyone else. I see someone who claims to reject validation from others, while simultaneously needing everyone to witness his superiority. That's why you're here right now, isn't it? You could have just transcended, disappeared, become something beyond our comprehension. But no, you needed an audience. You needed us to know we were beneath you. That's not evolution, Aizen-san. That's just insecurity with a god complex.
You mistake confidence for insecurity. I don't need your validation, Urahara. I never did. You want to know why I created my plans in the open? Why I allowed people to witness? Because hiding achieves nothing. Change requires demonstration. Evolution requires those left behind to see what they've become. You created the Hogyoku out of curiosity and then abandoned it because you feared the consequences. I perfected it. I used it. And yes, I failed. But at least I tried to change something. What have you done, Urahara, hidden in your little shop? Helped Ichigo Kurosaki fight my battles for you. You talk about wisdom and restraint, but all I see is a coward who outsources his courage to children.
There it is! You can't stand that I chose not to do what you did. It eats at you. Because if I could have done it and didn't, that means your entire philosophy is just you justifying your own need for control. You're not special, Aizen-san. You're not the Ubermensch. You're not the first person to see that the world is flawed. You're just the first person arrogant enough to think you should be the one to fix it. And you know what the funniest part is? You lost. Not to the Soul King, not to the system. To a teenager. A boy who didn't need centuries of planning, didn't need godlike power, didn't need to manipulate hundreds of people. He just cared about his friends. And that was enough to beat you. So tell me, Aizen-san, what does that say about your evolution?
You think Ichigo Kurosaki defeated me with friendship? How naive. Kurosaki defeated me because I allowed him to evolve. The Hogyoku responded to his potential because of me. Every battle I orchestrated, every obstacle I placed before him, it was all designed to push him beyond his limits. In the end, Urahara, I may have lost the battle, but I won the war. Because I proved my point. When pushed, even a human can transcend. The system can be broken, and the Soul King's order is fragile. You sit there in your shop, content with your inaction. But I changed this world. I forced it to evolve. And that, Kisuke Urahara, is something you will never accomplish.
You're right about one thing, Aizen-san. You did change the world. You showed us all exactly what happens when genius is corrupted by ego. Thank you for that lesson.
How tiresome. I have listened to you speak, Sosuke Aizen. I have heard your philosophy, your grand vision, your righteous rebellion against the Soul King. And I find myself agreeing with you.
Yuha-Baha, the Quincy King. How unexpected. You agree with me?
Yes, the Soul King is an abomination. A mutilated corpse, stripped of will and autonomy, used as a linchpin to maintain a broken system. The Soul Society is corrupt, built on the suffering of the Quincy, built on lies. built on a hierarchy that serves only the privileged few. You are correct, Aizen. The cycle must be broken. The false god must fall. But that is where our agreement ends.
Oh? And why is that, Urahara?
Because you are not a revolutionary, Sosuke Aizen. You are a pretender, a fraud, a man who clothes his ambition in philosophy and calls it enlightenment. You don't want to destroy the Soul King's tyranny. You want to replace it with your own.
And what exactly do you want, Jubilee? To merge all worlds into primordial chaos? To erase death itself? You speak as though annihilation is somehow more noble than order.
Annihilation? You call the ending of fear annihilation? You call freedom from the cycle of death chaos? Let me explain something to you, Aizen. The Soul King split the world. He created this cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. He created the separation between humans, hollows, Quincy, and Shinigami. My people, the Quincy, were nearly exterminated by Soul Society because we threatened this precious balance. We were slaughtered, hunted, destroyed, all to maintain the Soul King's order. The same order you claim to despise.
So you want revenge? How predictable.
This is not revenge. I don't want to punish the Soul King. I don't want to take his throne. I want to erase the very concept of his existence. I will merge the worlds. I will destroy the boundaries between life and death. I will create a reality where no one fears death anymore, where children don't die afraid, where mothers don't weep over graves, where the cycle of suffering ends. That is revolution, Aizen. Not sitting on a throne and calling yourself God. Ending godhood itself.
And you think a world without death is freedom? You think removing consequence creates meaning? Death gives life purpose, Yuhoa. Fear motivates evolution. Struggle creates strength. You want to erase death? You want to create a world without challenge? That's not liberation, that's stagnation. A world without death is a world without growth, without change, without the very evolution you claim to seek. You call me a pretender? You're the one who wants to turn all existence into a nursery, a safe, sterile prison where nothing can hurt anyone, and nothing can matter anymore.
And there it is. You reveal yourself, Aizen. You need death. You need hierarchy. You need the struggle. Because without it, how would you prove you're superior? You claim to hate the Soul King system, but you love what it represents. Power, dominance, hierarchy. You don't want to destroy it. You just want to be at the top of it. Death gives life meaning. Fear motivates evolution. Listen to yourself. You sound exactly like the tyrants you claim to oppose. You need people to suffer so you can feel superior to them.
I seek a world where the worthy rule, where power is held by those with vision, intelligence, will, not by a corpse or by birthright. Your vision is cowardice, Yuava. You want to erase death because you're afraid of it. You want to merge the worlds because you can't accept that existence requires boundaries. I would create a world where beings evolve, where they choose their path, where they're free from false gods, but not free from consequence. That is true autonomy.
No, Aizen. That's just tyranny with better marketing. Do you see now? Do you understand what he truly is? You and I both want to destroy the Soul King. We both see the system as corrupt. But the difference is this. I want to destroy the throne. You just want to sit on it. You are not a revolutionary, Sosuke Aizen. You are a tyrant in waiting. Every argument you make, every philosophy you spout, it all leads back to the same conclusion. You should rule. You should decide. You should be God. At least the Soul King doesn't pretend to care. At least it doesn't dress up its dominance in philosophy. It's just a tool, a linchpin, honest in its emptiness. But you're worse. Because you make people think your tyranny is freedom.
And your world without death, Urahara? Where everyone is free from fear? Who decides what that world looks like? Who shapes it? Who maintains it? You do. You speak of ending godhood, but you're simply becoming the new god. The only difference between us is honesty. I admit I would rule. I admit I seek dominance. You hide behind compassion and claim you're saving everyone from fear. But in the end, you're the one deciding what existence should be. We are not different, Urahara. We both seek to reshape reality in our image. The only difference is that I don't lie about it.
Perhaps you're right. Perhaps we are both tyrants. Perhaps there is no revolution without a revolutionary who believes they know best. But here is the final difference between us, Aizen. When I reshape the world, no one will remember me. There will be no throne, no hierarchy, no god to worship or fear. Just existence, pure, eternal, fearless. But you'll build statues of yourself. You'll demand worship. You'll create a new hierarchy with you at the top. So yes, we're both tyrants. But at least my tyranny has an ending.
You're wrong, Urahara. A world without death is a world without meaning. And a world without meaning is not worth existing in. I may be a tyrant. I may seek dominance. But at least the world I create would still be alive. Your world? It's just nothing.
Then we have nothing more to discuss. Enjoy your prison, Aizen. At least it's honest about what it is.
君たちごときがこの私に判決か。いささか滑稽に映るな。